I didn't think it would look this good. Kind of looking at it makes you look like it's a, you know, like the G8s or the Chevy SS's. I understand why they put a set of drag wheels on it. Fronts need to be a little taller. Hey guys, it's Alex, and I'm sweating my balls off here in South Florida. It's actually warm today. It's been raining for the last couple of weeks. But remember when I told you guys that I was going to find a set of 17-inch wheels to fit on the Genesis? There we go. I found myself a set of 17 by 10s, and I'm going to see if they fit in the back and actually get them in there, get the car sitting on them and see how it fits. I know you guys are like, what are you doing? You're stupid. You know what? Fuck it. Power by the Hour had a set of 17s laying around. I said, hey, you guys mind if I go down there and test fit them on the Genesis? We don't care. Come on down, do your thing. So these are Weld RTSs, 17 by 11, I believe, with a set of 305, 45, 17. These are the R variant drag radial. So I'm going to put them on the car, see how they fit. Well, the moment of truth. I'm going to drop it down, make sure there's no clearance issues. Oh, come on, baby. There we go. Oh, shit. That's funny. That's funny that the offset, now they stick out a little bit. But you know what? That's pretty good. That actually doesn't look bad. Should I put the front on or no? Well, there you go, guys. That's what the Genesis looks like with a set of Weld RTSs installed with Mustang fitment. It is exactly the same offset, exactly the same bolt pattern. The front tires should be a little taller, maybe like a set of 28s in the front, but those are 18 by 4.5s. The rears are 17 by 11, and man, it's a perfect fit. It's like a 1/4 inch away from the shock in the back. Front has a bit of a gap on it, but you know what? Who cares? I really don't want to buy these because I think it looks pretty good, and I'm trying to keep this daily a daily, but pictures and days like this make it real tough. Look at how much tires underneath. Yeah, man, that'll work. Hey guys, so after test fitting the Weld rims on the Genesis, I'm really happy that they fit nice. So in the future, if I was ever to buy a set of wheels for it, I know Mustang fitment works real well. But I took them right off, and the Genesis is sitting outside with just a regular set of wheels on it. I didn't want to, you know, be tempted because trust me, I'm going to want to do stuff. But now I want to talk about Roush equipped vehicles. So a lot of the cars out there that are getting aftermarket power adders are pretty much equipped with Roush superchargers. Obviously, there's other aftermarket superchargers, VMP, Pro Chargers, Paxton, Vortex, all that stuff. But people like Lebanon Ford and similar companies are pushing the Roush supercharger everywhere. So I'd like to talk a little bit about Roush equipped vehicles and the lineage that led up to this. So I'm going to talk about the Roush vehicles that I give a damn about. Typically, Roush vehicles like 3 valves really didn't make any power, but there are some occasions where some 3 valves came built from the factory and Roush had some specialty vehicles. But real quick, let's talk about them real quick. 2007, 2008, the P51A and the P51B were built bottom end vehicles. Basically, they came from Roush with a forged bottom end, low compression. I believe it had a TVS in it. So if you wanted to get into a older 3-valve Roush equipped vehicle, look for a Roush P51A, P51B, kind of a rare car. But if you get your hands on one, they're built, and you can put all the boost on earth to it, and it'll take it because it's forged, like legit forged bottom end. Not powder forged, nothing stupid, legit forged stuff, pistons, rods, crank. Then in 2010, they had this thing called the Roush Hammer, called the 540RH. Rumored to run 11.8 from the factory at 122, 123 or something like that. Manual in stock form, for lack of a better word. And they actually were pretty darn great. They had the newer body style, the 540RH. Then the more familiar 11 and up Coyote car that came with a Roush supercharger, 11 to 14. They had advertised 540 horsepower. Phase 1. Now, what is phase 1 with a Roush equipped vehicle? And this actually applies to newer Roush vehicles also. Phase 1 is 85 millimeter pulley on a 2.3 liter TVS, 47 pound injectors. Now, phase 1 has the closed airbox on 11 to 14. You can opt for the phase 2 package, which means recalibration of the computer, 80 millimeter pulley, and a fuel pump voltage booster or a BAP booster pump that goes in the trunk. and that I believe bumped up power to like 620 or something like that. Now this is all crank horsepower, but a lot of the guys were still having, you know, issues because there's a lot of torque management in the Roush calibration. They basically shut the car down when you shift it really hard, throttle shuts, and why is that? Warranty. Roush has to warranty all these cars with their calibration. So what's the best way to make the most power out of these cars is aftermarket calibration. On 11 to 14 Coyotes, you don't need anything to calibrate it with an aftermarket deal. You can just call up a company, say, I want an aftermarket tune in this guy. And if you have a phase 2 car with aftermarket calibration, the car can be really close to 600 rear wheel horsepower. Phase 2 has a different cold air, 80 millimeter pulley, fuel pump voltage booster. Now, if you really want to wake the car up, do the following. Get yourself a 120 millimeter cold air. PMAS and other companies make similar cold airs. A twin 67 or a twin 65 throttle body, a twin jet. You guys have seen these before in some of my videos when I talk about throttle bodies. This is the VMP version. Let me go. VMP version, twin 67 millimeter throttle body, real good upgrade from the twin 60 that comes on Roush equipped vehicles. You can also get the elbow upgrade for 11 to 14. If you look at where the throttle body mounts, the elbow has two little holes like this. And if, hey, you guys looked, if the two little holes actually is where the air passes through. If you get an aftermarket elbow like from VMP, it is one big old square opening, and it really adds a bunch of power and it wakes the car right up. You do have to do a little bit of port matching, but once you get that done, the car's gonna be fine. Now let's talk about the 15 and up S550, the most popular platform for Roush equipped vehicles I have ever seen in my life. Almost every car I come across that's an S550 has some kind of TVS in it, whether it be a VMP TVS or a Lebanon Ford equipped TVS or an RS3 right from Roush. Now, if you get yourself an RS3 from Roush, there's a bunch of things that you get with it that you don't get with like a Lebanon Ford equipped vehicle. You get better seats, better interior, better exhaust with a Roush RS3, better suspension. The Roush coilover setup, it is one of the most legit suspensions you can get on the planet. I absolutely adore this suspension. It is the right suspension to get. You get the wheel and tire package. You also get 1,000 horsepower axles with it. They still stick with the stock drive shaft, but with the Roush calibration, you should be okay. If you open up the calibration to an aftermarket calibration, you will need a couple of things. First of all, if you're using an SCT device, you need this thing called an IAT harness, inlet air temperature. Now, the IAT harness connects to the MAF, piggybacks to the MAF, and it goes to the passenger side of the blower. You need to replace the sensor and the actual fitting the sensor goes into. Why is that? Because the way Roush basically protects the blower from, okay, if the blower gets too hot, downstream temperatures, the Roush calibration uses the IMRC to actually pull timing. We don't. You know, aftermarket companies, they have to piggyback off of the IAT sensor to actually protect the vehicle when the blower gets up over 140, 150, 160 degrees Fahrenheit. Anything above that, they pull back timing. So aftermarket calibration. Now, if you're on a Roush calibration from a Lebanon Ford vehicle or any other Roush vehicle, you have to get that calibration out of there. Now, the problem with that is you cannot save that calibration. That calibration cannot be saved. It is an encrypted calibration. You cannot suck it and keep it on your device and then go back to it. You basically have to force the car back to its bone stock tune so that we can then flash our tune over it. We cannot flash an aftermarket tune over the Roush tune currently because it cannot be drawn and saved. Roush was very smart to encrypt their strategy. So that's something that you're going to have to deal with on a Roush tune vehicle, but it's a very minor issue and we've gotten around it, no problem. The aftermarket has done that. Now, once you get an aftermarket calibration on a Roush vehicle, it really wakes it up this much. Now we're talking S550. Let's forget about 11 to 14. S550 has the automatic transmission with Roush equipped vehicles. And we have seen cars with a phase 1 calibration, phase 1 car, 85 millimeter pulley, no booster, 47s, in good weather, less than 1,000 DA, run 1090s, 1080s pretty easily, not a problem. Aftermarket calibration takes away all that torque management, that throttle shutting silliness. The aftermarket transmission calibration is superior than anything Roush can put out because it is aggressive, it is well vetted, and it is more geared towards the racing end of things. While it still can be streetable, it is a better calibration for racing because we don't have to warranty anything. Now, if you get a phase 2, which means 80 millimeter pulley, and a fuel pump voltage booster. On S550, the fuel pump voltage booster is located behind the rear seat. When you open up the cushion, right by the seatbelt deal, that's where your fuel pump drive module is. It's really pretty much plugged into there. And when you have an 80 millimeter pulley and a phase 2 vehicle and a booster with the stock injector, we can go 10.7, 10.60s. We can RPM it a little better. But if you want to go even further, you have to upgrade the injectors. You absolutely have to upgrade the injectors. So if you upgrade the injectors to like 56s, like GT500 injectors, you will need a spacer hat to actually go in there and adjust for the height of it, because the Roush injectors are LU47s, they're tall. 56s are a little less tall, and you need a spacer to make up the difference. Or you can go with a set of Deechwork 95s, ID 1000s, or ID 1050Xs. That right there will allow you to RPM the car to death. And if you wanted to put, race fuel like 104 or Sunoco 260 GT or Torco or anything like of that nature, that car can go as fast as you want it to go. I've seen cars go bottom 10s with Torco and a good, this is a catted car with catalytic converters, all that stuff. The guy gets a aftermarket torque converter, free flowing exhaust like a Resonate or Delete or something, and then with an automatic with a converter, and the thing just scoots and boogies and runs a low 10 pretty easily. So hopefully you guys get a little more familiar on Roush equipped vehicles, what needs to happen, what you have to do to get the stock calibration out of it and to free it up, and what upgrades to do on 11 to 14 Roush RS3s to really make them really wake them right up and make them something real fun to drive. Hopefully you guys like the video. I'll keep coming up with more tech videos as I think of them. Thanks a lot, guys. Talk to you later.